if we have a child and we are married, for example, and we are not.
We are not, just for everyone to know.
We go to court, we don't split the child, we don't put on top of the child
Solomon
other
thing,
things.
right.
We have to keep and protect the child until we settle, and then we deal with the child. This is what's happening in the territories.
Welcome to News Beast. Special treat for you today. We have the lovely and talented Rula Jebreal in the house. It's always a pleasure.
Great to see you.
Great to see you. You've got a brand new piece up on the Beast today about the UN, major actions with regard to Palestinian statehood, or at least move in that direction by Prime Minister Abbas. Tell us what the piece says.
Well, the piece is about how to strengthen moderates and actually weaken extremists. And the UN bid for actually to become an observer, a non-state observer at the UN, will give Abbas and the moderates, Salam Fayyad and others, the power to gather and rally the Palestinians around them and start actually ignoring Hamas more and more.
And you see this really as a move to help marginalize Hamas and
also to push Israel to the table, to the negotiation table. You know, Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has been ignoring, humiliating Abbas, has been not giving him anything, and that discredits the PA, the Palestinian Authority. And the more we encourage them to go through that path, which is a path of negotiation and peace deal and agreement. Look, today and yesterday, an ex-Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, said publicly that he's in favor of a UN bid.
People were very surprised by that.
Exactly. And 5 ex-security official apparatus, the leaders of Shin Bet and Shabak, said, look, we have to talk to the Palestinians, or even Hamas, include Hamas in the negotiation, because the only way we can guarantee Israeli security is through a peace commitment.
Well, and when I'm a Kadima fan, so when Olmert did that, but the folks at Shin Bet saying that's pretty significant. But as you point out in your piece, this is really more about being able to have leverage on the International Criminal Court. Do you see that simply as a...
This is one of the sides.
But
this is an important
aside,
side,
yeah.
Yes.
Is the virtue in that primarily leverage then, as you see it, to get Netanyahu to the table? Or is this actually then become an end to itself? And do you think international criminal courts can deal fairly with issues like Israel, with the UN?
I believe the International Criminal Court has been dealing fairly with everyone. Why not when it comes to this piece? I mean, when we talk about genocide in Sudan and we talk about Libya, the Libyan case, you know, when they send the arrest warrant against Gaddafi and his son, that was valuable. That pushed the whole international agenda and people to actually support the United Nations resolution that led to intervention. Look, when it comes to the Palestinians today, we have to understand that the more we empower the moderates, the better we are off. Israel better off, the world is better off. But it's also good for Israel because Israel has its own extremists. You know, we have Lieberman, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who said this is a political terrorism, and it's a strategic threat. A strategic threat and political terrorism is what Hamas is doing, not what the PA is doing. You undermine the PA, you undermine the moderates, you undermine the people that you will talk to in the future. So the mindset of Israel, especially the extreme right wing, have to change in order to make compromises and in order to reach an agreement. In the long run, you know, Rabin said it clearly. He said, we need to have peace for the security and for the safety of Israel. If we want to survive as a nation, we have to make concession today. Not tomorrow, today. And
for folks who don't know, you were born and raised in Israel.
I was born and raised in Israel. I'm an Arab Israeli.
Right.
You know, there's 20% of the Israeli citizens that are Arabs. And look,
just an important context for folks at home.
We are all for two-state solutions. I mean, two-state solution. But today we have to understand that there's, you know, with the settlements that have been increasing, there were 60 settlements. 1993, today there are 200 settlements, 500,000 Israelis living. Israel has to make a choice whether to have, you know, one-state solution with everybody, with citizenship to everyone, even the 3 million Palestinians in the West Bank, or to have two-state solution, but you have to take all the outposts, all the settlements, all the military, and the siege from Gaza out.
Let me ask you about that, because that's an important point, because Abbas has refused several times to meet with Netanyahu unless there was a complete cessation of the settlements. Does that seem to you
fair?
Fair
Look,
is
if
too loaded a word.
Fighting with you over a house,
but is that
you cannot build on top of the house or destroy the house while we are talking. We should stop whatever we are doing.
So you do think that's a reasonable
precondition
for negotiation?
Go to the court and negotiate a settlement, and then decide after what to do with the house. If we have a child, and we are married, for example, and We are not.
We
Just
are not,
to be
just
clear.
for everyone to
We're
know.
not married. If we have a child and we are separated,
Uh-huh.
we go to court, we don't split the child, we don't
This is
put in top
the
of the child
Solomon
other
thing,
things.
right.
We have to keep and protect the child until we settle,
Uh-huh.
and then we deal with the child. This is what's happening in the territories. When you build more settlements, you're actually creating facts on the ground that will compromise any future negotiation, exasperate the Palestinians, push them towards Hamas, who thinks, okay, Israel doesn't want peace and doesn't want to negotiate, and actually stealing more and more land and will not give us any hope. Today, it's about giving the Palestinians hope that through negotiation they can achieve freedom and democracy, and maybe someday also a real state.
A state. Final question. What do you think, as a practical matter, will happen today? How do you think this will play out in the UN?
Oh,
and
it will be overwhelming support. Everybody will support this resolution. And
Not the United States, presumably.
not the United States, but look, most European countries, most African countries, most Arab countries, of course, and Latin America, it's a moral issue of our time, the Palestinian issue. We cannot deny basic rights for them, and we accept it for everybody else. It's a double standard. Why they should 3.5 million people accept to live under military occupation when we actually were the people that supported the Libyans, the Egyptians, the Tunisians, and said, yes, they deserve liberty, they deserve democracy, they deserve to be, not guests in their own house, not slaves, but citizens. Let's build citizens today.
All right. Big day at the UN. Rula Jebreal, thanks
Thank
for coming
you.
by News
Thank
Beast.
you.
Read the piece on the Daily Beast. Rula Jebreal, always a pleasure at News Beast. Great.
Great.
All right.
Love that. Let's do this more often, man.